A very good evening, everyone, and this is a introduction into podcast number 6. I do a short trip to Greenwich Eco Park, walk around there just as my wife is in IKEA. I go for a walk at Greenwich Eco Park and let you know what's going on there at this time of year. And then today I went on to Canterbury, the Denge area, looking for some crossbill. During the course of the podcast, I introduce you to some new vlogs that I've just released on camera settings, etc. Things like the pre-shooting mode. I give you some bird fun facts, things that I'm spotting. You get to listen to the birds I'm trying to capture. And then I move on to Oare Marsh, where I get to see a water rail and a barn owl. And that will be footage going up onto my YouTube channel. So enjoy the podcast. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm at Greenwich Ecology Park and it's quite busy. When I was approaching, it sounded really quiet. We popped down to a restaurant called Psyche in Greenwich. It's just on the borders of Charlton and Greenwich, sorry. I was just distracted by a bird flying over and I'm wondering what it is. It's probably just a pigeon. But this is like the best Chinese you can get outside of Chinatown that tastes like authentic Chinese food you would get in Hong Kong, which I've been to 4 times. So instead of going all the way into Chinatown in London from the Bexley Heath, London border, we go there. And as my wife's gone into IKEA and I've gone to the ecology park, I didn't even bring my tripod. I just thought there's not going to be much, and I know the layout. There's probably going to be a load of kids here because it's a Sunday in the school holidays. There's not one kid here. It's brilliant. It's just, I couldn't believe it. I did have a feeling this would be the case. Sometimes I go out and I think, oh, well, just put up with all the kids and the noise and everything that's going to be at this place you go to. And I'm very shocked. Many people don't go out. I think kids are just addicted to screens now, I guess. They were just talking about a kid in the family who doesn't like to go for walks. And it's like, well, I didn't like to go for walks when I was a kid. I only got into bird watching, in my early 40s. Oh, speaking of that, some kids have just shown up. So you might hear some screaming and shouting. But anyway, where am I? I'm about 50 meters into the reserve from the gate, that's south. And it's alive with juveniles. We've got juvenile goldfinch, juvenile blue tits and great tits, and I've got some greenfinch recorded as well. The goldfinch and the great tits and the blue tits are feeding on the alders, and I keep hoping when I put my camera up to the goldfinch it's going to be a siskin, because that's where they feed, on those. So I haven't seen any since, when was the last time? I can't remember if I got them at Warnham or if I have to go right back to Old Lodge. I got a brief view in the distance. But I'm just looking at I'm just checking all the birds because there's a board at the front of the Greenwich Ecology Park. Let me just get my camera on. This is probably like another goldfinch. I'm trying to film as much greenfinch footage as possible. Oh yeah, they're juvenile golds. But, hold on, what's that? I believe that's oh, that is a green in front of it. Let's see if I can. I'm going to have to do some serious manual focusing through there. Yeah, it's having a good old stretch. Right, okay, we're on it. And it's just flown forward a little bit. I'm going to have to lean to the right. It's having it, oh no. Yeah, it's through several branches and leaves and I can't get I'm getting it. No, where's it gone? Yeah, it was through too many branches and leaves. But this is a hot spot for greenfinch. The sort of last 4 or 5 visits down here, they've been guaranteed. And when I came here in the winter, they put out feeders, I only learned, for, what's that? This great tit went to the top of the tree. And because it was in front of it, had a kind of a red bit of the plant, I had this just crazy dream moment that it was going to be a bullfinch. But crazier things have happened, like that juvenile, what was the cuckoo at Elmley on Thursday. That was absolutely crazy. But anyway, back to the feeders out, and I learned because the feeders are gone now, and I thought, have they just not got the money now, the funds to keep the feeders going? And they said, no, the feeders only go out in winter to help them. And this is where I got some absolutely brilliant flight shots of the greenfinch, because I could just wait for them to take off. And yeah, amazing flight shots using my electronic first curtain, which means that the rolling shutter didn't distort the birds when they were flying. I'm having to duck in and out of, I'm under some trees now because there's tiny rain showers that said it was going to happen. I didn't bring an umbrella or anything, but it's just going to be a light drizzle. The Home and Dry app just showed some light drizzle. But this is a good spot. I'm under a tree now, and you can hear it. You can hear it. You can hear you'll hear blue tits, great tits. You'll hear the parakeets. Yep, see, that's the goldfinch making that crazy racket. And let's see what that is. And that's just a leaf. I'm just pointing my camera at dots at the top of the trees over to the west of the reserve. And yeah, check everything, because sometimes a dot or a bit of leaf or a bit of plant or a bit of twig does turn out to be a bird. So I'm just going to walk over to the stream, which I can already see is completely thick, full of reeds. I did hear probable moorhens and coots. What was that? Something just jumped. I didn't see a splash. I wonder what that was. Yeah, there's a lot of algae. No, nothing in there. But I know there'll be moorhens and coots in there. I heard them calling earlier. But always a good little spot to come to. I'm always surprised by this place. You get good views of, what's that? That's no idea. What's the bird? What's the, not the chaffinch and the chiff-chaff? I did a video on it. I forgot the name of the bird. The willow warbler. I did a video. Check it out. It shows you how to differentiate the willow warbler and the chiff-chaff, because they often get mistaken for each other. The big giveaway is the call, but there's some other differences, like the leg color is different, and the eye stripe, the supercilium, which is the eye stripe, is much more yellow and pronounced on the willow warbler. And generally, it's usually, if you have to ask, then it's a chiff-chaff, which is the more common bird. But when you hear the willow warbler, it's very distinctively different. You don't get the chiff-chaff. But you can hear all the birds. There's a lot of activity. I think all the terns have gone. Like I said, they've got a board up, chalkboard inside the office, which tells you all the spots for August, which this is the 3rd of August today. So obviously they're only counting for the 3 days. And nothing unusual on there except maybe sand martins. But it's very grey today. And I thought if I come here, I'll put the dot sight on and try to get some flight shots of the sand martin. It's a little bright amount now. I might be able to go up to 4,000 ISO. I'll go and sit in one of the hides, and then I can get them low down on the water, which I could never catch with just my naked eye and using the camera. But now I've got the dot sight, that could increase drastically my chances. Okay, all gone a bit quiet. There was a massive feeding frenzy with all those juvenile birds. Okay, yep, definitely you can hear that. It's gone quiet. So we go around to the first hide. The terns have absolutely gone. This place in the spring and early summer, the sound of the terns, there's dozens of them on the floating platforms. And we get a few strays from here, come down to Cross Ness. So I'll tell you what I'm doing. I'm just standing still because there's a little bit of activity here. And I heard an unusual call, which could be a different bird. Oh, yeah. Wait a minute, what would that be? Could be a reed warbler. Bit of raspy. But it's very far in from the reeds. Nope, this doesn't make good podcasting when you have to wait and listen. Oh, yep, there's a sand martin right over my head. Okay, so we're going to get into the hide and see if we're going to break the dot sight out and see how we do. What I should be doing is running my Merlin app, because it might pick up something I'm not paying attention to. Oh yeah, another sand martin, good. So I'm just looking through the screen out into the water. Looks like a bunch of juvenile coots. And the terns have absolutely definitely gone. Right. What are those? Those are going to be all, what are you, yeah. Juvenile goldfinch, that's a blackbird. Yeah, usually when you open the London Wiki page to see what's going on in London, the Greenwich Ecology Park comes up, but there's been nothing recently. So either people haven't been coming or there just hasn't been anything worth noting. We're in the first hide now. Reeds are very high in front of it, so there's going to be no photography now. It would have to be high up, right? Okay, I can see through this hide to the other hide that the sand martins are going down low. So if the sky is reflecting off of the water, it might produce a bit more light and make flight shots of the sand martin possible at a lower ISO. Any other birds? Yeah, it's just all these juveniles. The parents have obviously all migrated somewhere and left them here to feed. Good, yeah, because from outside the reserve, I could hear nothing on the approach when I walked around the perimeter to come in the front. It's amazing how much of a difference the sound. I could hear nothing out there. I thought there's going to be nothing alive in here, and it is very much alive in here. The trees must mask the sound pretty well. I'm just keeping an eye on the buildings here because I've seen sparrowhawks fly up there after taking when I was here earlier in the year when they had the feeders out, a sparrowhawk went right past the feeder, and that happened at Warnham as well. So when you're at feeders and you've got vantage points for things like sparrowhawks, yeah, what you need almost is to have a GoPro on record, continuously at a high frame rate, and then you can. There's a little squirrel here on the walkway. I wonder if it wanted fed. But anyway, sorry about the sparrowhawks. Yeah, it'd be good to have like a video recorder. So if a sparrowhawk, just leave a recording, forget about it, and then if it does go by, you can capture that bit of footage. There's a grey heron right in front. Right, I'm not getting any pictures from this hide because the reeds, there's individual reeds sticking up from the bunch, from the rest of them, that just make skimming sand martins impossible. I won't be able to catch them. Right. I mean, there's activity here. I might actually go out to the River Thames because they do go out to the Thames and pick up flies. And yeah, they're flying. I might. The thing is, the way it looks is you imagine there's a clear sky, but there's a tree line at the other side of the water, with a lot of busyness with branches and twigs and leaves and flowers and reeds, which means my camera is going to not be able to really focus on a small sand martin. So we need another month of the plants dying back a bit before I can get photographs of birds flying across with the dot sight. Okay, I don't see anything else. There's some perches here for birds. There's nothing on them. There is a big grey heron. You know what? It might grab something. It's locked on something. And I'm just walking around the hide trying to find a gap through the reeds. And then I'm going to have to manually focus if it does it. I'll just get myself ready. How quickly can I get my exposure right, so if it does happen, I'm not fiddling around with ISO. Okay, that's a bit bright. Go down to, where are we? 125, ISO 800, still too bright. And see, I'm at ISO 400 and shutter speed 1/25 and f9. And at ISO 400, even in these grey conditions, some of the white feathers on the grey heron are blown out. And you can't rescue those post like you can shadows a bit more. I spotted something. I'll leave my camera recording on it. And then manually focus through the reeds. No, I trained my lens on it at slow-mo 120 frames a second for about 3 minutes, just waiting for it to strike. It was looking at something intensely. And it didn't strike. It just flew off to the left. I don't know why, because it couldn't have seen me. I've been there for a while. And a few seconds after it landed, I heard just a loud screech. So I'm just running back to the other hide to see if it's grabbed anything. It saw something it could grab quite quickly. But then the view from the other hide wasn't that much better. I don't know if they're meant to cut it back or just let nature do its thing. That's maybe why people haven't come, because there's not much going on. All right, okay, see if we can get the view from the first bird hide. Where are you? Oh, it's back on the, okay, the heron's gone back on an island and looks like it's just preening now. Fair dues. Okay, nothing going on. So I might try going out to the river for sand martin. I'll do another circuit outside to see if there are any other smaller birds. Because you just increase your chances. Keep going out, because you don't get rare birds often. You might even get one once every 2 years. So you just got to keep going out. I can hear greenfinch, the little distinctive greenfinch call. Yeah, we're at this. If you're not aware of the Greenwich Ecology Park, obviously on the other side of the water is the city airport. You should be able to hear all the birds that's going on around me. Just looking through one of the screens here, the old Tern Islands. Nothing, yeah, absolutely nothing in there. They're gone. Plenty of feral pigeons going over. There's a lot of perching area for any kind of birds, starlings, sparrowhawks on these buildings. I'd say it's started to look dated already. I don't know why the material they chose, very grey and a lot of wood, which ages quite quickly. I suppose when they first did it, it looked quite futuristic and modern, contemporary, but it's just weathered really quickly. Looks a little bit dystopian, sorry. If anybody working here sees this, and if they agree to it, I'll be like, how dare you, how very dare you. Back at the area where I saw all the juvenile birds, and they are busy again. Oh. Any surprises? No, suddenly gone. I know the greenfinch are here, they're always here. If I was here for a few hours, I'd clock up quite a nice little bit of library footage. Yeah, I can already, even though it's still really warm, I'm out in a t-shirt. I can feel the change, the seasonal change. And I'm looking forward to new birds coming in, new migrants. Now something's moving around in there. I can see the reed is about 8 feet high, moving from the bottom. What are you? It'll probably be a duck or something. Yes, I've been standing here for about 15-20 minutes now, and a juvenile robin, quite close to being an adult, popped out, and I've been keeping the camera on the slow-mo, 120 frames a second, in case I only get 1 or 2 seconds. And I got that, and it seemed to be having a bit of a scuffle with a juvenile chiff-chaff over a bit of territory here. But they sort of stopped and stared at each other in the branches for several seconds, allowing me to film for ages. And I think I've seen another one go into this bush. I'm kind of hoping there is a willow warbler in there for some reason. But if I stand here long enough, things will pass through. There's a constant stream of birdsong. A squawking grey heron just flew in, made a racket. It came out of the ponds and into the stream, which you can't actually walk along. That's been closed for as long as I've known the park. I don't know when they're ever going to open it. But yeah, I mean, it's always a good day here. It's always nice that this little spot, this oasis, exists. Because you get stuff here that I don't get at Cross Nest. Better for sand martins, better for willow warblers, greenfinch for sure. Yeah, Cross Nest does not tire me. We had a little bit of a good early year for greenfinch at Cross Nest. But they seem to have cleared off. There was a couple of months where it was almost guaranteed to see them. But the greenfinch are always here. So I just walked over to the view screen, see if there are any changes to the water. No. Let's have a walk around this triangle at the bottom of the reserve here, see if I can hear any other noises. Oh, what's that? Squirrel, is it? Or is that just a creaking branch? That's a creaking branch. I can see where it is, yeah. Look, if I move the branch. Good stuff. It's good that I kind of knew it would be a creaking branch. Oh, yeah, birds are going crazy up there. So I've got the Merlin running in my back pocket, just to catch anything I'm not paying attention to. So it's got grey-lag goose, mallard, Chetty's warbler, I did hear that, rock pigeon, European robin, greenfinch, great tit, Eurasian magpie, Eurasian blue tit, song thrush, I didn't hear that, Eurasian wren I did, goldfinch I did, and parakeet I did. So what's going on around this, the bottom bit, the furthermost bottom bit? Goldfinch are probably the loudest things here. I'm just at the spot where the feeder was last time. Yeah, if you put that out, I mean, I know they want the birds to sort of find natural food, all the proteins themselves, but that's a dream come true, having feeders. But anybody, yeah, sorry, I have to be careful about this. I've been watching the Warnham Nature Reserve Facebook page, and what's going on is what this couple of people have warned me about Warnham. They said that when the kingfishers show up in the summer, the hides are packed, and there's a little bit of scuffling on Facebook about moaning about people, photographers taking over the hides, and other people who just want to see the birds not being able to see them. And yeah, I mean, I as soon as they said the kingfish, I know exactly. We have it at Stodmarsh, where everybody just gets thousands of pictures of these kingfishers on the one post, and it's like, yeah, we kind of know what a kingfisher is and what it looks like. You know, at least try and make it something different. You know, wait for it to do something unusual. And then through the winter, we get the short-eared owls, millions. I mean, I put pictures up. I try to only sort of put them up if it's a really interesting or unusual shot, not just, you know, 5 random ones of them flying. Because yeah, everyone wants their work to be seen, and they want some likes. We all want some likes. But yeah, it gets a bit samey. And yeah, the Warnham one is getting a bit aggressive now. But I'm going to wait till winter, because they don't seem to have all the stuff that I originally went there for. Somebody recommended it to me for brambling, my favourite UK bird, and it didn't disappoint. Brambling, bullfinch, sparrowhawks, all amazing photos. If you look at my vlog of my day there, it was fantastic. And I can't remember, I think it might have been back in March or something. And I think that's the time of year you need to go. In the summer, it's just, you know, you can get an idea of what's going on in a place by looking at their Facebook page. And I've been watching it thinking it's not worth the trip down there. All this, you know, hundreds of pictures of kingfishers and everybody fighting over the hides. So, plus it's £4 to get in, and that probably makes it even, you know, that cuts down a lot more people going in there. It could be a lot worse if it was a free reserve. Maybe they should make it £10 a head, or if they see you with a camera, 20 quid. Let's get really brutal about this. Okay, just got the phone call from the missus. She's finished in IKEA, so we're going to meet back at the cab. Just check, there's birds flying past me. I think, yeah, we're done here. We've got everything there can be. So yeah, head back. But it's a good little bit of video for the libraries. Just you know, I like to keep the vlogs, even if it's not interesting vlogs with amazing birds. Keeps my practice up. I like to keep bringing out content, vlogs, photos, video, and podcasts now. And if I don't have enough from a long vlog, a long podcast, then I'll just maybe do a bit of recording at one place, a little bit of podcast, and then add it all together into something that's usable. One big meal of lots of little bits, a buffet of days out. So we're gonna, that's pretty much it, unless something, I see anything on the river, which I didn't see anything. I might see some sand martins, but next podcast bit will come from another reserve, no doubt. See you then. Good afternoon from Denge and Pennypot and Greenwich Wood. Apologies if I've got any of those pronunciations incorrect. Now we're here on the tip-off that there are crossbill spotted on Sunday. No spot yesterday, but that could just be that the person who saw them didn't go back, or nobody's gone back to check. So I parked in the car park that it was suggested, and I saw the very familiar dress code of the birder, the British birder anyway. Parked up having a cup of tea, and I assumed they were here for it, unless they were just regulars. And I asked, they said no sign yet, so it's very clear they're here for the same thing. And the news story was that 20 crossbill were coming down to this pond. Well, it's not even a pond, it was a puddle in a bit of track where a tractor had been going over a few times, and it just collected in the rain. and they'd come down for that. So I don't usually go on wild goose chases, but I really wanted a complete change of scenery. I'd done Elmley a few too many times. I'd been going back to Crossness too many times, and I wanted I wanted something really unusual. It didn't have to be a lifer, but actually this, I think I'll have to look this up. This might be a lifer because the crossbills that I got in Mallorca, I always get those two mixed up, in 2023, I believe were red crossbills. I think those are, yeah, like a European subspecies. So these apparently are common crossbill. So this would be great. And this is very woody compared to what I'm used to. And there's a lot of off and on sun. So anytime the sun gets too strong, I'm going to duck in. About 5 minutes down the road, I was treated, although I didn't capture it, to a yellowhammer. I have to say that's my favourite bird name. I'd say my favourite British bird is a brambling, which I also enjoy that name, but yellowhammer, that's very cool. Just, I don't know what it is, just that's awesome. And what happened was it was against the sky on a wire as per usual. I tried to get out. It did let me get out because I had to get out, otherwise I wouldn't have got it anyway. And I stepped out and I tried to adjust for the very harsh lighting and it flew off. And I thought, okay, they're around here. This is a wire here. I'm going to give it, 10, 15 minutes and see if they come back. And there was nothing. There was no bird. God, there was something in the bushes by the road, but it sounded more like could have been a reed warbler or a reed bunting or something. It definitely wasn't a yellowhammer. Very distinctive, but they were juveniles. Whatever I was listening to was a juvenile. But in a wood like this, there's not going to be much, but there could be something unusual, and I'll take something different for a change. A lot of dragonflies. The other birders are looking out for butterflies. This is what happens at this time of year. All the birders turn into butterfly chasers. And I have to say, I'm not interested in the slightest. Maybe as the years go by, I'll get into it. But what happens in the summer, particularly in the UK, is birds get a bit scarce. The sun gets a bit hot anyway, which means you don't go out as much. And the birds don't fly around as much in the midday heat. Therefore, people don't go chasing birds that they're not going to see. They're much likelier you're going to get some good insect, dragonfly, and butterfly action and moth action. But I have to admit, so far this is very quiet. But what happens is when you get areas, woods, nature reserves that are quiet in all the usual species, this can lead to something unusual. And I'm keeping the Merlin app running. No, I've definitely just seen and heard a family of chiffchaff. And I was telling the birders that it could very well be a common redstart, because when I went to photograph the common redstarts at Old Lodge a few months ago, I was ignoring a call because I thought it was a chiffchaff, not the chiffchaff. They make a kind of that call, the single chirp, and then when a common redstart landed right in front of me, it was making an identical sound. And sure enough, I'm just running the Merlin app here in the background, and it's picked up a woodlark. I mean, those can be down here for sure. But yeah, they could have flown over and I just would have missed it. I've got my settings for 4,000th of a second. So if any bird flies over my head really quickly, I can grab a snap for an ID. But the second one on the list down is a common redstart. I'm just going to take a screenshot of that to put on the vlog. If you look at the vlog when it goes up, yeah, because you have to do that. You have to screenshot the Merlin app quite quickly or at some point, because if it goes off for too long, it loses the internet. It can just restart and you miss the opportunity to either film the screen or take a screenshot. So I've saved that for my vlog. And then the third one is a wood pigeon. So there's nothing else going on right now. I've not seen any birds. There are no buzzards down this way. Yeah, you definitely have to sort of go to the coastal area, northern Kent. Yeah, I can hear nothing at all. So this might be a little bit of a slog of an afternoon. Now what I'll do, they said the birds were spotted between 3 and 5. And it is now 2 o'clock, Tuesday the 5th of August. Yeah, Tuesday, 5th of August. So we'll give it a couple of hours in this area to say we've done it, and then we might, I think about, I'm going to keep an eye on bird guides to see if anything else pops up, seeing as I'm all the way out this way. And I might go to pop into Oare on the way back, Oare Marshes, because that's going to be likelier to have barn owls at this time of night. And apparently 15 or 17 black tern flew west. I almost felt like saying to my Bexley bird group, watch out, 15 to 17 black terns just flew west and they could be flying past cross nests. Ha ha, no chance. And I did, when was it? I think it was either early this year or late last year that I got my first black tern. It was down at Denge. So I finally got that as a lifer. I think I'm on 754 lifers. When I just went through all of my footage from Vietnam and Malaysia, where I got about 100 lifers, and because I didn't take any pictures, I just filmed the whole trip because there was a lot of vlogs to do. I found it easier to edit vlogs. I had to screenshot images of the birds I keep all my stuff on albums on Facebook, so I can access them at any point rather than going into a hard drive. So I had to screenshot and put them in and say these are from screenshots from video, so that people don't think, wow, his standards of quality have dropped through the floor, because some of them are really bad because they were just, I literally got like one frame of a usable bit of film to use as a video photograph as an ID. So that's yes, 754 I believe. Now if you look at my list, if you ever go through all those, I would say anything between sort of 10 to 30 could be questionable for exact IDs. There are going to be little question marks. They're almost certainly unique birds, but I might have just ID'd them wrong, and they will probably still be lifers. And then there are quite a few subspecies in there, especially things like pied wagtails in different countries, like in Agadir, Morocco, over in Vietnam, all these different subspecies with the slightly different Latin names. And some people might not include subspecies in their life list, and some people don't. There's no rules. There are no rules. You know, you do your own rules. You do you. It's a different bird. It's got a different sound. It's a subspecies. You know, you could say, well, Codman chaffinch is just the same bird as a blue chaffinch, the blue chaffinch being a subspecies. No, they look completely different. They breed in a completely different area, completely different diet. So they're a different bird. So I'm including subspecies because that means I get to bump up my list. So that's my excuse. Right, now what I'll do now is I'll have a little bit of a gap while I wait for something to happen and me to give you an update. Right, you should be able to hear a lot of birdsong. I'll just be quiet for a second. Okay, so my Merlin app is willow warbler, marsh tit, coal tit, long-tailed tit, goldcrest. And there are a couple of little pools that have formed in the holes on the ground, on the mud, where tractors or some other 4x4 has gone over. And they came down, I got like a half a second of a juvenile goldcrest, but nothing else. So I thought maybe I'd be really lucky and the crossbill would come here. So all of these bird songs I'm hearing, all these little, they usually happen, this is what happens, you get a flock, you get quiet and then everything all of a sudden starts coming through in one big flock. And it's the same in all the countries I've been to. And I can't see any of them. So the sound is carrying very, very far. It's very, very low light. I mean, would I even bother to film any of this if I could see it anyway? I'm just doing some checking through my camera if I see something move, and I'm having to put it up to a 2500 ISO. So it's not going to be the best quality. So yeah, it's almost what you need to do is come, if you ever want to get into it, you've seen videos on YouTube, you could form your own artificial pool somewhere where you know birds congregate and it's a bit dry, and just put it in the road, set a hide up. It might be something I'd do one day, but I'd need the location. I haven't got anywhere local to me that I could do that. and you could do it undisturbed. There was somebody on the Kent Facebook birding page for a couple of years ago. I haven't seen him up since. He had set a hide up in a bit of a wood where nobody goes to, and he was getting, whew, wow, the stuff he was getting, hawfinch, he was getting sparrowhawks coming and having a bath and a drink right in front of him. Wow, yeah. It's if you live out in the countryside, you can pull that sort of thing off. It's a bit like if I lived out here, I'd definitely have feeders out. Because the problem with the feeders, I mean, not so much, I mean, wood pigeons are a problem, but the main problem for where I am are the parakeets. I could look out my window some days and there could be 7 or 8 in the feeders just ripping all the food out and causing chaos. So we can't really have feeders, and I'm, you know, sick of going out there and they're just scaring off all the small birds, and just gave up in the end. I really did enjoy that. I've got some really good birds in my garden. I had black caps, chaffinch, grey spotted woodpeckers. Yeah, it was really good. And then you just get the commotion of the parakeets coming in. Yeah, that's probably a marsh tit or a coal tit. Let's see if I can, I'm just stepping under this big fallen over tree and see if I can get any direct line of sight to whatever's calling. Right, I'm going to go coal tit on that one. Let me see what Merlin, if Merlin is highlighting it. Oh, it's marsh tit, okay. It's just highlighted marsh tit. Now I'm probably going to, I'll tell you what, I'm probably going to have to see if I can go to photos, if I can get a single still. Right, where are you? Yep, above my head somewhere. Over to the left, let's move the tripod. It does sound, I can sort of hear the difference between it and a coal tit. I'm more used to hearing coal tits, and a marsh tit was, I think it was only late last year, was a lifer for me. I finally got down to Bow Beach, which is good for them, and they were there. Right, where are you? Come on, show yourself. Just check my settings. Wow, I'm really high. ISO. I can't literally, oh, there's a lot of birdsong. I can't see anything moving. Right, I think it's, what happens is you get used to hearing the distance of birds, and if they're behind something, or if it's a clear line of sight, and it does sound like it's behind a couple of thick branches. And if it pops out, I'm going to have to be on my A game with the manual focus. Come on, show me yourself. Oh, what's that? I can see some movement. Oh no, it's a blue tip. That's a blue tip that's jumped out. I'm at 4,000 ISO, so these pictures are going to not be the best quality if I do catch one. I can see something drop there. That's a blue tit. Come on. Right, sounds closer. It's getting a bit brighter, so I might not need such high ISO now. Lights coming through the trees. What was that? Yep, I can see it, but I can't. Nope, I missed it. It was right there. I had it, but I just couldn't focus quick enough. And I know it's it because it's singing. Right, I've got to get my focusing game on point now. Okay, right button. Right, it's moving into the wood. Right, come on, where are you? Oh, yeah, I can see something. Right, okay, I've got it. I've not got a clear, it's a terrible shot, but I've got it. It's behind branches. Okay, my heart is racing now. Okay, so it's just there. Yeah, I saw the black cap. So the pictures will just be for record. Let me see if I can recreate that. That's the long-tailed tits. Now that sounds like a coal tit over there. Let me just go through those pictures. Yeah, yeah, none of them are sharp. This one's about sort of 70%. It's an ID. Just need you to land smack bang on a branch somewhere, mate. Please. It's going to be backlit. I'm right at the edge of the clearing. So if it lands there, I'm just going to get a backlit shot. Not ideal. No, it's a butterfly. Made me jump. Yeah, you can hear though. Those are that continuous sound, the long-tailed tits. For those of you who don't know. Right, I keep zooming. See, I'm at this point now. Do I keep dragging my tripod to the next bit or keep both my hands free? Blue tit. I'm just standing completely still and just hoping a shadow or something catches my peripheral vision. Yeah, don't move your head around, just, right, it's definitely in front of me somewhere. Yeah, come on. There we go, that's what scares everything away. You know what, I don't think it's moved, no, it's staying there. But that is I think that's a blue tit anyway. I'm looking at it through the camera. That's either a juvenile or what are you? Juvenile something. Oh, I think it's a coal tit, this one. No, no. Yeah, I'll just talk about them. There's no way these pictures, any of these, are going to be any use. Yeah, coal tit is doing that thing where it holds a seed or something in its claws, wedged to the branch, and it just picks away at it. Something moving lower down. What are you? Oh, it's really dark now. I'm going to go down to 1/100th of a second. Not great. And I'm going to need, wow, 6400 ISO. Something's down. It's on the ground, so that could just be a robin or a dunnock or something. And it's slightly bigger than everything else. Yeah, they must know I'm here, not coming out. Yeah, I can see the red breast. It's a robin. I thought as much. Instincts were correct. It was too big to be any other bird on the ground. Any other, the tits. Okay, that's interesting. Marsh tit, coal tit. Question is, do I go? I won't go any closer. I won't go in further to these woods. I want to go back to the car park and just check, keep an eye for those crossbill. And what's annoying, I've asked some of the AI services, ChatGPT, Grok, etc., because we have things like WhatsApp and we have Telegram and these messaging. What we need is one that doesn't save contacts. If you meet up with somebody that day for whatever reason, like bird watching, and you're in the same area and you all want to keep in communication to say if there's anything rare being spotted, and you just you don't want to, you can just tap phones and go, right, join the group for 24 hours or 12 hours and then erase all information. That would be a great design. Why has nobody done that? If I was an entrepreneur, I'd be straight on there, but I don't have the money or the contacts, because I'm sure there are people who would want that kind of service. And they say, why don't you just keep all of the contacts? No, because then you just have tons and tons of contacts on your phone that you're never speaking to. And if you go bird watching abroad, and maybe you'll only ever see those people once ever in your lifetime, then there's no point in keeping them on your phone. I'm just having a look around. There's nothing moving, but I can still hear the long-tailed tits. Okay, that was a little bit of interesting action there. Kept me on my toes. Yeah, it's all quieting down now. It's what happens with bird flocks. They just, you know, have a drink, have a feed and move on. And I assume whatever they were feeding on replenishes the next time they come round with insects. Just scanning the trees with my bins. You know, always when I come out to a wood like this, there's always that little hope that there's an owl or something. What are you over there? Something. I've just come to the clearing where they were spotted because I went for a walk because there was nothing here when I got here, so I thought I'd go and explore. That's where I saw the long-tailed tits and everything, the gold crest. And over here, there's just nothing. It's just wood pigeons. There are multiple puddles, and there could be dozens more in the clearing. They've cut wood down as tractors here, and they've done some clearing. Is it coppicing? Is that what it's called, a coppice? And it's going to be down to listening for the crossbill call. I mean, I can't say I'm completely familiar with it because I've never heard it before, except on a YouTube video. But it will stand out a mile when you hear it. I remember when I was in Mallorca and I heard the red crossbills. Immediately my ears pricked up. I was like, what is that? And got them, and they were just, I had a whole tree full of them to myself. And ever since then, I just wanted to get back to Mallorca to see them. But yeah, I'm looking at several puddles that I can visually see. But they, like I said, this cleared area looks like it goes about half a mile north, and there could be dozens. So I'm looking for any little dots flying around or the call. So it's all about putting the time in now. I've seen a great spotted woodpecker land in a tree. That was the only different thing. And then the bird guide, the Merlin app, showed up a greenfinch. Not a big deal, but another bird onto the list. All the little forest birds. And I thought I almost broke my own rule, which was when I did the vlog on the Merlin app, I told people, download the pack for the bird calls in your region of the world, because sometimes you go out of a data area where you don't have any network. And when I got out to hear all those birds a moment ago, and it said no signal, I went, oh, you idiot, you broke your own. And then I looked and went, no, I actually had downloaded the whole of Europe. So good for me. I kept it on there. So what I've got at the moment is my backup. I've got an iPhone 8 and an iPhone 12. And the iPhone 8 is for putting all my notes on, looking at stuff while I'm, say, recording with my iPhone 12. I'm always a few years behind on iPhones. I will never buy the most up-to-date one because you're paying £1,200 to £1,500. Whereas I bought this iPhone 12 for 500 quid, £500. And it's all the sharpness I'll need. The reason I'll get rid of the 12 is if I upgrade to a 14, and the 12, just the network, I believe I bought a 6 and it wouldn't update with the latest Merlin. So that's how they get you to update. Because what I wanted to do was use the iPhone 6 and leave it in a wood, listening out for tawny owls. And then I noticed it couldn't use the latest version of Merlin, which recorded sound, it just did photos. So that went out the window. So I've got an 8 and a 12, and what I will probably do is I'll buy, say, a 14 and keep the 12 as my backup, and then I can use that as maybe I could use the 8 to leave in a wood, because they're only worth about £40 to £50 now. They're not worth much money. Obviously you can turn it off and hide it and nobody will find it. Just do it overnight. So I could drive to work one night, leave it in the wood, and then on the way back I could just pick it up. No one will know it's there. And the other reason for a secondary phone this is crucial, is if your phone gets taken, stolen, or if you left it somewhere, you can use the Find My iPhone app and see it anywhere. I used it in, where were we, St. Lucia, and I left it on one of the buses between the two hotels. So, I mean, I just had to ring the hotel and say we left it. But for that reason, yeah, and if your phone does get stolen, you think you're not going to retrieve it, you can erase the phone. So any personal stuff on there can be erased. So please, yeah, get a second phone. It doesn't hurt anyone. They're so cheap now. Just keep an eye. There's birds flying over. I think these are just all pigeons. I've got my settings for birds in flight. Yeah, these are probably stock doves. Yeah, there's just something about them. I can tell just by the way they fly. Yeah, they're stock dove. 3 stock dove going over. It's just wood pigeon and stock dove at the moment. And I'm just keeping my settings for ID purposes at the moment. 1/4000th of a second, 4000 ISO. cloudy conditions, and that will light up a bird enough and capture, it will freeze the wings of any small bird. But yeah, have a second phone. Definitely. It's just, like I said, they don't cost anything. Get yourself on a cheap, my second phone is on Leica, which is £5 a month, and gives me, I don't know what it is, 5 gigabytes, 10 gigabytes, but that's just enough for some very, very light browsing, etc. But I also have a second network. This is the other reason I have it, is because Vodafone in particular has so many dead zones around England. I mean, in central London, very good, but as soon as you get out, it goes dead. And even down at my local area, Crossness, as soon as I walk through the metal gate, Vodafone goes dead, and I switch to Leica, which piggybacks off the E network, and you get great coverage everywhere. So it's, yeah, for those reasons, have two networks, have a second phone to erase your phone if it gets stolen, or to track your phone if it gets stolen, and using it for, if you can't take a screenshot of something, you need a screenshot, like your bank, like if you want to take something for your bank, your records, you try to take a screenshot on your phone, it won't allow it, it's in the software, but you can take a photograph of the second phone. There's so many multiple uses. I should make another vlog about it, about having a second phone. It's now approaching about 4 o'clock, and nothing. We were in the car park and stood out by the coppers for a half an hour, and nothing at all. The only extra thing Merlin picked up was a wren. We're going to pay one last visit into the wood where I saw the puddle where the goldfinch goldcrest were coming down to feed. Give that another go, and then we're going to go to Oare Marshes, where I'm more likely to come away with some actual recorded video or photo content. Yeah, I'm glad I'm doing these podcasts now, because on days like this where I don't see anything, I can still report sightings, you can hear what I'm hearing, and sharing the excitement. A little thing I just wanted to mention is one of those things, do they work or don't they? It's hard to tell, but I've got a band on, like an insect repellent band, and that's always a pain in the neck thing for birders. As I look out and I think, I'm going to get eaten by insects, but I can't be bothered, lathering up with loads of probably poisonous insect repellent. But these bands, you just put one on your wrist, and it's supposed to keep them away. And I've had it on for the last 2 days out, and nothing's landed on me. I've had no bites. And you think, how can it do that? Well, it is actually very strong. Even when my wrist is down by my side, I get a little waft sometimes. I go, whoa, that's strong. And it's probably not good for you either, even, from that distance. Maybe hormone or thyroid disrupting any artificial sense that they're that strong. Anyway, it's either that or put something else on. I used something called Skin So Soft that was recommended. I've done a couple of vlogs on it. Something fishermen recommend. Some people say the formula's been changed from years ago when it was really good. And I've used it out, and I'm pretty certain it works, because I'd use it and I wouldn't get any bites. I'd eventually get bites because it'd be on for several hours. I'd be sweating and it would run off. And then, once in a while, I'd forget to put it on, go out, and I'd just be straight away, why are all these insects jumping on me all of a sudden? Ah, yes, I forgot to put it on. So it definitely works. Yeah, so Skin So Soft, if you want to go for that. And it makes you smell nice and moisturizes your skin. And good if you're going out in the sun, because there's another little trick here. I was listening to Bill Burr last night, famous American comedian. He's a redhead, and he got burnt when he was younger. He gets burnt a lot. Redheads get burnt very easily. I get burnt easily, even though I'm dark haired. I think I've got my nan's genes. She was a redhead. And what I discovered over a few years ago by chance was the reason you get burned and then your skin starts to peel is because there's no moisture. So if you do get burnt, even before you go out, if you don't want to put loads of lotion on, or you don't put the right amount on, it runs off, or you go in the ocean and it washes off and you get a bit burnt, moisturize, just get plain moisturizer and slather it on. And literally, as long as you're not lobster red, you'll wake up in the morning and the redness will be gone. And it's important, the moisturizer, because it will mean in 2 or 3 days when you would normally peel, there would be no peel. It's simply down to the heat just sucking the moisture out of your skin. So moisturise before you go out and then apply it. You don't need to put any of that nonsense after sun on, just moisturiser. Definitely better. Little tips and tricks here. I've made all videos on this stuff. So I'm back at I've just got back to where the little pools are on the path. And when I first came here, I could see things going down and going back up and nothing here. And I could hear all sorts of goldcrest and tits and stuff flying around. There's nothing here. So it's all timing with these pools. The other day when that person saw the crossbills, must have just been lucky they were in that car park. I mean, I'd scanned the KOS, the Kent Ornithology site for sightings, and I rarely ever see crossbills. So it must have just been pure luck for that person, like it did with for me and the juvenile cuckoo. So I think we're done here. We gave it a try, and I knew that Oare Marshes was just about 30 minutes away. So we're going to spend the evening, the last bit of the day there. And there's apparently a spoonbill, spotted redshank, possible hobby, barn owl. If I go down to Dan's Dock, which is further west, you have to walk along the seawall water rail. Then we'll see how hot the sun is. There is a wood pigeon nest in here. I spotted it. It was sat on it. Yeah, because you'll see my video the other day when I was at Elmley. I got them mating right in front of me, so they're constantly mating. That's why they do so well, because they just have many, many broods. Yeah, it's very quiet here. So that's what you get. I remember even when I was at Fraser's Hill in Malaysia in November, I believe it was. And you're in the jungle and you hear a few birds. It was really worrying because Fraser's Hill is supposed to be one of these top birding hotspots in the world. And I got there and I saw a couple of things like an oriental magpie robin, which you see everywhere. And I thought, oh, what's going on? And then out of nowhere, you'll be on a trail and just this flock of about 15 species comes crashing through for 3 minutes, and you've got to fire off as many shots as you can. And I have experienced that in many places in the world. They have that same behavior. Different species go together in flocks and then they're gone. So yeah, look around them because there'll be different ones in there. Yeah, now I know this place is here. I saw the yellowhammer down the road. On the way out of here, I'm going to be like eagle eyes like a hawk on all the wires looking for yellowhammer. So hopefully if Oare is any good, I'll have something to show you and add to the podcast. But like I said, I like the podcast because I can do an audio update. And there was something I said to my wife. I think the podcast will do better in the long run. Podcasts you can take everywhere. Like I can't walk through certain city streets and airports and stuff with my phone out talking. I feel like an idiot. But with the podcasts, I can, like I've got it now. The DJ and mic is on my t-shirt, and I just talk and walk, and it picks it up perfectly. The audio is great. Gets rid of any wind. It's perfectly good podcast quality. So I'll see you at Dan's Dock unless something happens between here and the car. Not Dan's Dock, Oare Marshes and Dan's Dock. So we're at Oare Marshes. Took a minute, there was a bit of traffic. Isn't it incredible how when they close one road to do some works, they manage to close the only other road through? It's like they do it on purpose, don't they? To wind up people to the max. Anyway, I'm not going to let it spoil my day. So you know the yellowhammer I mentioned earlier? It was back at the same spot and in better lighting. So it was still distant. So I had to put my 2318mm 4K crop on it just to get about 20 seconds of handheld videos, just for the record. I don't believe I'm going to make any vlogs about today. It's too windy to put the tripod up. There aren't any closed birds. I just filmed a whimbrel. I'm looking over there. There are 2 egrets. There are lots of black-tailed godwits, redshank, but all too distant. There's not going to be a vlog today. I'm pretty sure of it, unless there's some huge surprise. The tide's coming in. I think everyone here is still looking at the Bonapartes. I've done it now. I've got the video. I don't need anything more than that. All right, what we got here? We got a load of lapwings coming in. Well, quite a few actually. Now, what I'm doing today is I've actually put my dot sight on. I feel like since my last session at Elmley, where my dot sight, I can now hand hold it. I used to just do it in a hide where I was sitting down, but now it can capture any birds flying. And I think I'm getting pretty accurate with it, just holding it straight out in front of me without any kind of support. And I think I'm going to do that because there's nothing, this lighting's too harsh, the wind is going to be fighting me. I just think let's get some snaps, let's get some practice with the dot sight. Again, these things, if I mention them in the first few podcasts and you don't know what they are, please go into my Stormcab Birds. What were you? Were you a black-headed gull? Don't need to take a photo, so I'm just getting ready to throw my tripod down if I need to catch one of the birds flying past me. Yeah, go into my similar named podcast, YouTube channel. So there's a couple of grey herons here. I'm just going to see if I can capture them. I want them both in the frame. They seem to be chasing each other. If I can get them both lined up using my dot sight, maybe. They're staying about 3 meters apart, right? The other one was giving up. He was chasing it. And I thought that would have been a nice dogfight photo, but no. Okay. But yeah, go to my YouTube channel and you'll see anything I talk about, whether it's 4K crop, whether it's dot sight, whether it's camera functions. Now, the latest vlog I made was about Canon's raw burst mode pre-shooting, which is you can set it up to buffer half a second of pictures before you press the shutter button. So it only keeps the photos. That's a raptor, isn't it? Oh, I think that might be a hobby. It's the way it's flying. Sorry, one moment. Might just be a kestrel. I think it's a kestrel based on the, yeah. Yep, it just zoomed in. I took some record shots. It just was usually where they're hovering, they're a kestrel, but this one was going after some birds where it looked like it was. What we got here? Canada geese. So I'm just keeping an eye. There seems to be things going up. It's very exciting at the moment. The grey heron keeps going around and scaring everything off. And there's a couple of them, you can hear it. Oh, there's 3 of them up in the air. Okay. So the pre-shooting, what it happens is you hold the butter down, put it on the toast, and then put your jam on. Hold the shutter button down as if you were focusing before you take a photo, and it pre-buffers half a second worth of photos, and it keeps deleting them. But as soon as you press the shutter button all the way down, it saves everything from half a second before you press the button. So that's good for birds taking off. So if it takes off and you miss it, you press the shutter button and it will record everything from that bird taking off, and you should get 3 or 4 usable photos. The better your camera, the more likely it's going to miss the rolling shutter problem. Mine, the R7, suffers from it badly. It means that there's distortion in the image. So hopefully the next generation of cameras is going to sort this. But for now, you sort of get away with it. You can take the odd usable photo. So it's more in a sort of beta stage than it is a full-fledged working model of a system function of the camera. And what's you? Just a wood pigeon. Everything's wood pigeons here at the moment. So the tide is going to be in about 4 hours. I think it's about 6:30. Let me check the time. Yeah, 6:20. So a couple of hours here. I might just drive straight into work. It hasn't been too stressful a day, so I don't mind going to work straight after. It's a lovely day. There's nobody else. Well, there's a few people at the car park. And the only problem with this dot sight is I keep tapping it because it sticks out so much. I keep tapping it, and you only need to tap it to throw the green laser. What it does is it fires out a green beam, and it has to be perfectly lined up with the center of the. I'm just checking. We're still. I think that's. Hold on. Do I need to put that down a bit? I think it's. Yeah, I've knocked it out a little bit. Need to put it down. Yeah, there's 2 dials to adjust it. Up and down, left and right. I think that's about right. Yeah. Okay. It's not connected to the camera, and it just means you can point the camera stuff without looking through the viewfinder, and therefore you can see more of your surroundings. Anyway, again, go to my YouTube, and I've got loads of tutorials on everything from custom settings to pre-shooting, loads of stuff. Which should you choose image stabilizer on or off? Loads of stuff. Yeah, there's a load of stuff that people don't use. It gets very complicated. I've been doing this for 5 years, and I'm still learning stuff on the camera that I haven't used yet, haven't played around with, because I don't do it all at once, because you need a little while for a new feature to become muscle memory. Otherwise it's just overload and trying to remember 8 different settings within the space of 3 days. So I don't know, we're gonna try this Dan's dock, which a few people have said has shown some good water rail. Whether they'll be out or not, I don't know, but I'll walk down there and see if anything's about. But they have some really good sightings here, but there must be a guy or a couple of people that come here early on the Kent ornithology page. They list all the birds in the numbers, and the person's always noting like 5:30 to 11 in the morning. So you're getting all the early birds. And I'm sure most of it is scoped, because when you see that on the website, you think, oh, you're going to get there, and there's going to be thousands of birds right in front of you. No, you have to remember, a lot of birds are scoped from a very long distance away. When you see all these thousands of birds on these websites where people take counts of them, like when they do the sea watches, and they've got all the 79 Arctic skuas and Pomeranian skuas, and what's the other ones, the scoters and all that, and you think, oh great, I'm gonna go up there and see if I can see any of those birds. No, they're going to be dots on the horizon, and these guys are using like 3,000-pound Swarovski crystal scopes, and even they are tiny in the frame, in the little viewfinder. Oh, I've got a swan, black-headed gull. So this is just going to really turn out to be a sort of pleasant walk. I mean, the juvenile cuckoo at Elmley the other day came out last minute, so it could be a last minute thing here. But I got some images of some linnets taking off around some plants they were eating on, and I just missed this skylark. I would have had the dot sight on it, and I would have had it flying and filling the screen while hovering, but it just stopped doing that the minute I got out of the cab. Bad timing. Right, I will do an update when there's something else interesting happens. Well, this water rail, which I just thought was not going to happen, I thought it was all just talk, and they knew exactly where to look, and it was a secret location, even though they just put Dan's dock. Sometimes they say this, Dan's dock, and well, it can be anywhere, you know where to look. But it was just right there in the water in the reeds, coming out bold as brass. I've never got, well, I think I've had 3 seconds of water rail in my whole life. So this is amazing. Now, there's a lot of wind. What I think I will do, because there's not enough for a vlog, I will just put up this footage of the water rail so you can see what it looks like. And for those who've never seen one, because obviously even us birders don't get to see them very often, it's like it might just look like a coot or a moorhen for people who don't know. I'm just checking, I think that's it out again. It went in, no, I think that's a juvenile moorhen that's out at the moment. The water rail disappeared as soon as it showed up, so I think the moorhens might be more aggressive towards it. But I've filmed ages and ages, and there's kind of gusts of wind. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to edit out all of the shaky footage and hopefully have a few minutes of nice steady footage. Is it there, is it? Oh yeah, it's running through the reeds. Okay, good. Yep, I've got it right. I'm looking at it right this second. It's running, it's feeding just behind a few reeds. It's preening again. It's been preening the whole time I've been here mostly. There's a little fluff up. Right, it's behind the reeds. I'm not going to be able to focus on that. Now, apparently there's 2 here, so I've got to keep my eyes open. Yeah. I got hold of a little elastic band. I should have that out so I can pan very smoothly. All right, so where have you gone? I'm just keeping this. Where am I? Now, to give you an idea in space, so I'm on the swale, which is a kind of extension of the Thames before it gets out to the sea, the channel, and just along from, if you look at Oare Marshes on the map, it's about half a mile west of Oare Marshes along the waterfront, and it's an old dock called Dan's Dock, and just below where it's been shut off from the swale there's a little pond area, an old dock area where the two water rail have been showing well for a little while. And I want video of this. So yeah, the wind is sort of dying down a little bit. So like I said, I'm filming in between the gusts. I'm just letting it run and run, and I'll have to sit on my computer and do it. And you can see for yourself, so that way you get to see what I'm seeing if there's no vlog. And what I'm going to start doing is I'm going to start putting up just bird footage. I might go with no ads, because I think a lot of people get put off watching YouTube videos because of the ads. You know, as soon as that ad comes up for 30 seconds, you're like, I'll forget it. And actually, I don't get paid much for just pure bird footage, because I think the advertisers, they like people talking about things, discussing products and stuff where they can sell products. But if you're just showing bird footage, there's nothing really, there's nothing really for them to sell. So I'm just going to take the hit and give the bird footage for free. How's that? So you won't be interrupted. If it does take off like crazy, I'm going to have to quickly put the advertising on. I mean, if it starts going to like 3 million views, I need to make some of that money. Look at it this way. The more money I make from this advertising, the more footage I can bring you and the more podcasts I can dedicate. Okay, that's fair, isn't it? Right, I'm going to get back to filming this water rail. Yeah, still here with the water rail. There's one off to my right preening, but I've got so much footage now. I think I better do a little, I'll tell you what, because you might not know anything about water rail, let's have some fun facts. Okay, grey face and underparts, brown back with black streaks, flanks are black with white barring, long slightly down curved red bill, red eyes. Habitat range, preferred habitats, the wetlands, reed beds, marshes, swamps and wet meadows. Geographic range found in Europe, Asia and North Africa. Migration, some northern populations migrate south in winter. The behaviour, they're a very secretive lifestyle. Water rails are shy and elusive. More often heard than seen, they tend to hide in dense vegetation and rarely fly in the open. Calls, famous for their loud pig-like squeals and grunts, sometimes called charming, vocal, especially at dusk and dawn. Omnivorous, feeds on insects, small fish, snails, worms and plant matter. Forages by probing mud and shallow water with its bill. Nests in dense reeds or rushes, often above water level. Nests made of plant material and well hidden, 6 to 11 eggs per clutch, incubation 19 to 22 days. Chicks precocial, is that right? Can leave nest soon after hatching, black and fluffy. Adaptations, laterally flattened body allows it to slip through dense reeds. Long toes help it walk on soft or unstable ground, and it's an excellent swimmer. Despite its secretive nature, it can swim and dive if threatened. Awesome. So some interesting facts I didn't even know. Now, yeah, I've got tons of footage. I had to switch to handheld because the wind was just too bad. It's actually, the wind has died down now, but it just was moving around when I was filming earlier, and it's quite smooth. I give it that. It isn't too shaky. It's usable. And as it moved around, I flicked between the 4K crop, got right in on its beak as much as I could. And I had to be on the ball with my manual focusing, because it was moving just a couple of centimeters left or right, meant it was out of focus. But I did pretty well. Yeah, I took some photos as well. It's silly of me. Now I always say when I get enough footage of something, get some photos. So I might need the photos for some reason, for some thumbnail or something else in the future. Probably the best I've gotten so far. And still, is it preening? No, it's gone now. The one on my right was preening. The one on my left, I don't know where that's gone. But, and a little surprise, I heard another call, a small bird call. I thought it was a reed warbler. And it came out and it looked like a juvenile Chetty's warbler. And obviously, because I'm not making a vlog, I can't show that. So I'll probably put that in something else in the future when I do like a a mishmash of all bits and pieces that I couldn't think of what to put into a single vlog. I'll put them into a mixed vlog of different things. So maybe I'll just put it on my X account as a bit of footage. It wasn't great. I was trying to manually focus through the reeds as it moved along like a reedling. Yeah, not great light. So that, yeah, the water rail, one of them is off to my right. I'd love to have got two. Sorry, I did get two bits of two water rail in the same bit of video. So you'll see that in the footage in the vlog. And again, it's not going to be an Oare Marshes vlog. It's just going to be footage of the water rail. What time? Yeah, it's gone. It's getting close to 8 o'clock. Yeah, 20 to 8. We'll give it to 8 o'clock, and then we'll start walking back and see if it does anything differently. I don't know whether the one on my left, the one on my left went into the reeds on my left, and it hasn't come out. I was hoping it would come really close because it was on my left, so I could just get really frame-filling photos. I don't see where it's gone. But it'll shine elusive, not these two. No, no siree. Well, that day definitely ended on a bang. Yeah, I finished with a water rail. I'd got my fill of it, and I thought, okay, yeah, I better start getting back. And just along the seawall, I looked in. There were some white birds taking off, which were little egrets. I could see how bright they were, and they were in 2s and 3s. And the way they were flying told me they were something else other than a barn owl. And then I definitely saw the barn owl. It was like, even from a distance now, I just know the flight pattern. And I filmed my 4K crop. It wasn't close enough to go for my super slow-mo, which is normal 4K at 1280mm. So I filmed at 60 frames a second at 4K crop, and I'll just put the video up as a pure video on my YouTube channel. I'll put it up on Wednesday or Thursday. Obviously, it'll go up before this podcast anyway. It won't go up as a vlog. There's not enough to make a vlog, and I just want it to be pure footage and for you to enjoy watching it fly around. It drops down a couple of times, tries to grab things, misses, comes back up, and eventually it does come up with a little mouse or a rodent of some type. It flew off into the tree line. I was waiting. I thought it might drop it off to some chicks and then come back out flying, but it hasn't. So anyway, I can't complain about that. Rounded off the night beautifully. Beautiful water rail video and photos, beautiful barn owl. After a bit of a letdown with the crossbill, but you cannot ask for more than that. And there was even a brief appearance by the hobby. Somebody spotted it. And yeah, I saw it, but it was just a silhouette. So it could have been anything. Anyway, hope you enjoy the video. And yeah, I haven't had any reviews or any ratings. If you can give my podcast ratings 5-star, please, it would really help.